So a lot of people know certain things and others discover them later. But I feel like this is something that we have always known, and we own it, is that we have always been the odd ones out. Whether it was when we were growing up in Toronto or when we moved to Tennessee. But I think it's been one of the greatest gifts, because there is no place where we don't feel like we belong, because we've always been the odd ones out.
Yeah, and this conversation came about when we were sitting here thinking about different ideas and just, tossing them around. And Rashi was like, how about, did we always think that, what our family did or our parents did was normal? Or did we know that, we were different? My response was simple, which is we've always been different. No matter what neighborhood we grew up in, what city, what country, we were always vastly outnumbered by everyone else there. So it was pretty clear we were different, and we knew that. But that never limited us, because we would have gotten nowhere in life if we allowed it to. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where you simply carry on and live your life, and just be you. And you'd be amazed that, how good that is. Not trying to be something different or blend into the crowd when you don't have the option of blending in. You just kind of have to be you and put your best foot forward and see where that takes you. And I mean, we've grown up in so many different communities and different countries, cities, our whole lives, not just growing up, as kids, but adolescents, teens, adults, just all over. Not only growing up, but I spent a decade in Europe. Wash, you've spent vast amounts of time overseas in different countries.
Yeah.
And generally, no matter where you go, you stand out.
Yeah. I know. I never thought about it in the sense of it's so crazy, because something that keeps coming up on social media, and it drives me nuts, is this whole thing of I keep seeing, especially about France. It seems to be the place where people seem to, I guess it just triggers them and makes them insecure. They're like, I'm going to France and this is how I'm going to look like a local. And it's such a foreign concept to me, because I'm I've literally never tried to look like a local. I've never tried to blend in. I've never tried to change myself. Even when we were living in Tennessee, I remember we would go back to Toronto and I'd save up all my money that I, whatever I got, and I'd buy all my clothes in Toronto because I wanted to be different. I wanted to stand out. I like to stand out. And I didn't think it was as big of a deal back then, but now looking back and seeing how people can be so uncomfortable with standing out, it blows my mind that at that age, I was so confident and comfortable in being I want to stand out. I want to be the one that's different. I want to be the one that you can see and be she's not from here. Whereas most people are always trying to constantly blend in. And I was just thinking, I was where did that come from for us? Was it just because we got so comfortable with being the odd men out? Because even now, people Malton, Brampton, everyone's it's Browntown. It wasn't like that back in the day, guys. No. It was not Browntown. We were the ones that, when we lived in Malton, we were the only Indian family on the block. When we lived in Brampton, we were I think there's one other random Punjabi family there. And then, of course, when we moved to Tennessee, again, same thing. So it was never that way for us. So we were always the ones that stood out. But somehow I feel like it's a superpower, and we embraced it early on, which is good. But I find it very fascinating now looking back, and so many people they just want to blend in.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it was from such a young age, so it's not like we ever even had the choice. Do you know what I mean? It was just kind of here we are, but we embraced it, as you said. There was nothing we ever shied away from or ever kind of hid from. It was just, here I am. and present the best you can and just enjoy it, you know, because there's only two options: either you embrace it or you shrink, you know. And we're just
Yeah.
not the kind to shrink or wilt. We never have been. You know, we come from a proud family and a large family, and you know, I think that gave us a lot of spirit and confidence in ourselves, and just kind of knowing. I don't know. We had a lot of people behind us and a lot of love and all that kind of thing. So even then, when we were out there in the world and things like that, I guess there was just always that quiet confidence inside of just having so much support and love. Um, I don't know, maybe that kind of rubbed off on it to where it was like, you know, these folks can take it or leave it, but either way, I'm going to be good. You know, I think that's one of the most important things about family is when you do have that solid foundation, you just know you're going to be all right, regardless of what happens out there in the world.
Yeah, I agree. It's I even remember like looking back at like my photos for school, like our school photos,
Hmm.
and multiple school photos, I'm full on wearing a
Oh
Punjabi
yeah,
outfit. Like
yeah, yeah.
not only just a normal outfit, but sparkles, which was like totally
Hmm.
my thing, which was amazing. But like I'm like looking at that and I'm like, gosh, I mean, I literally didn't care. And that was when, you know, if you again look at the pictures of all the other kids in my class in that probably year, I'm probably one of a handful of non white kids in the photo, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I still remember, like, I can remember feeling so excited and proud to wear something different. It did not bother me at all. Or like the food being different or, you know, any of that stuff. And it's just so surprising because it, like you said, it was so natural that it wasn't like it's not something I debated or thought about. You know, it was just like, nah, that's cool. I like this. I like being the different one. I like being the odd one out.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in high school for senior year, I wore a bug
Oh
for
yeah, I
my
remember that.
for
Yeah,
my photo. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for your
Because it
senior
was
photo.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's who we are. That's how we roll. So yeah, it was definitely about kind of standing out and making our mark and being proud of who we are, while also fully being integrated into the fabric of
mm-hmm.
society and you know welcoming and being good to all of those around us. You can still be you. You can still kind of hold on to your fierce independent streak while also, you know, harboring
Yeah,
great friendships and relationship with those around you. You know, it doesn't have to be a confrontational thing by any means or a, you know, my way or the highway, but you know, be you. You're the only you there is, right? Anything else you try is a cheap imitation. And
yeah.
I'm just so delighted that we embrace that from such a young age and just kind of, you know, I always say I live out loud and always have.
Yeah.
You know, no apologies, no hiding. And it's been
Sorry.
super rewarding, you know, for wherever we've been. Oh, yeah, high school. Me and my buddies, we came up with the GCC. It was the Green Card Club.
Yes.
And it was just all of us. We got like a bunch of t shirts made that said
Mm-hmm.
GCC on the front, and the back was our nicknames. You know, I had Shere Punjab, which is the Lion of Punjab, throwback to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and Kepa had Romanian Romeo, Tamara had Egyptian Pharaoh. like, like
So
those are just
good.
the ones I remember because it's the most hardcore crew. But like we had Italians up in there, you know, Irish, everything. Like just and it was so it wasn't just green card holders. You know what I mean? These are like
Mm-hmm.
actual U.S. citizens and everything and all that. Like, but it was just kind of like representing the heritage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, same with the guys that came from Italy or that came from whatever. And it was just a fun thing. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
celebrating everybody's kind of heritage and whatnot. It was just something that banded us all together as well. Just different roots from different places. Once again, in a melting pot, all
Yeah.
best friends, hung out all the time, had the greatest time, but still had that love and appreciation for you know the culture that brought us and brought our unique personality and energy and background into the mix, which made the whole crew more interesting. You know what I mean? Than just being that one simple kind of vanilla. Everybody had their own flavor, their own
Yeah.
friction. You know,
Yeah.
their own motion. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was just thinking about it. I was like, I remember that, and it was awesome because like a it's such a great thing and so beautiful because like to me I'm thinking back, I'm like, man, like for especially in high school it's like such a hard time for most people and all they want to
Mm-hmm.
do is fit in, and we did not care at all. Like we were just like, no, this is who we are and we like who we are. And it was funny because Breathe the other day was saying, she's like, my daughter, she's like, oh, she's like, yeah, I'm sure like you were really popular in high school. And I was like, no, one, I don't actually consider myself popular in that sense. But two, I didn't give a shit. Like, I didn't care about that. I liked who I was and I liked being me. And
Mm-hmm.
that was my only concern. It wasn't about who liked me back for whatever, you know, I would wear or not wear. And I remember there's this one girl who was like, always be like, oh my gosh, I love what you're wearing. Like, where'd you buy that? And I'm like, oh, I got it on sale. And she'd be like, what? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't care. Like, that doesn't define me. Because she felt like, which I get it. Like, for her, it was like a sense of pride that I paid full price for all these things. And I'm like, no, I get that. But I didn't, and I'm proud of that shit. Like, I like that I got my stuff on sale. That makes me
Mm-hmm.
value it even more. Even now, same way. There's only certain things that I'll do that for. But it's like this innate confidence that, like, in the time, I didn't even realize that we had. But now looking back at it, I'm just like, man, that is awesome. Like, we just did not care. Like, we just did our thing. And I think that served us so much, like, and, especially later in life and having so much adversity and, being the odd man. Oh, I just thought of a great story. Like, so remember, like, so when we lived in Canada, guys, like, so if you don't know a lot of things about, Indian people, Punjabis, whatever, but one of the things that you can ask most people if they grew up in our generation, which is, 80s kids, is the drinking of milk in massive quantities. And our house in Canada was basically on the corner, and the bus stop was on that corner. So if we decided to not drink one of the three massive, probably, I don't know, 10 to 12 ounce glasses of milk that our
You
mom
better
gave
tell
us
the
that
story
morning.
right. You better give the full
No,
embarrassment.
I'll let you do it. I'm gonna let you do that part. I set it up for you.
So, dead of winter, maybe 7 a.m. or 6:30. I don't know what time we went to school there, but it was still sort of dark outside. We're under a street light, waiting on the bus, all bundled up in, our winter gear, hanging out with the kids from school. And there was a couple of buses. There was one for a different school and our school. We're all there in a group. And then lo and behold, we look over and who's there but our mother, bundled up in just her nightie, walking out
In her moo caftan.
in her moo yes, in her moo with flip flops on, heading out in the snow towards us, shrieking that we forgot to drink our milk in our big giant 12-ounce steel cups. And me and Rashi both immediately run towards her like, oh my god, what are you doing? Get in the house. And she's like, drink your milk. And we're like, oh my god, this is insane. Drink your milk. So we absolutely annihilated that milk and sent her back into the house. But that woman, yeah, she was not letting us go without that milk. She did not care how crazy it was. She's like, the bus is coming, you gotta have your milk. So yeah, that's why we're both the very least big boned, tall, harte, Hey, we come from generations of farmers, so they took that milk seriously.
Oh my God, it's so crazy. Yeah, like, I love it because when my daughter was younger, like, she went through this phase where she loved wearing patterns on patterns. And I like totally loved, I was like, yeah, you do you, boo. Like, that makes you feel good. Because I was like, who cares? At the end of the day, she's going to like eventually grow out of it and she'll figure out what she really needs. But if she wants to wear pattern on pattern, like, good for her. And it's funny because my mother-in-law would always be like, oh my God, it looks weird. And I'm like, dude, who cares? Like, she's not hurting anyone. She's not wearing anything
For
like
real.
scandalous. Like, she's wearing friggin' leopard print with like plaid. What's the big deal? It's not even that crazy. But like, I loved it because she
awesome.
actually, yeah, it is awesome, right? That's how I felt. And recently I loved it because my daughter was like, oh my gosh, she's like, thank you so much for like making me feel so secure. Like, you never made me feel insecure about like how I ate or, you know, how I dressed or how I talked or anything about my body or any of that. And I was like, dude, I grew up in a way that even though like mom and dad, I know they were like trying their best to like not make us fit in, but like, you know, they wanted us to be a certain way. But it never made me feel overall insecure. Like, I was just like, yeah, okay, I get it. These are like your cultural things that you think that we're supposed to be doing. But
Cultural and their standard, you know, there had
yes,
to be a
oh yes,
standard
their
for
standard,
things. It
yes,
wasn't so
yeah,
much about crushing individuality. It was more like,
yeah,
you know, and mom used to love dolling you up. Hell, she dolled me up. I had the red ruby damn slippers. So, thank God she had a daughter. I don't know what would have happened to me.
I don't know. That would have not good for anyone.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was like so crazy because I'm like, yeah, I was like, I want, like, I don't want you to ever feel. Same thing with even people now. I'm like, you should just be proud of who you are, like whatever that is, because the world needs more individuality. Not everyone needs to fit in. Like, that is not the message that needs to be like what people need to think. And I just love that we have been able to embrace it and then continue it. Like, now it's both my kids, I'm just like, sure. Like, my son was like, yeah, I want to like get all the same color shirts. I'm going to get a logo put on them. And then I'm going to wear the same pants or shorts. And I was like, yeah, okay, solid. Great. You're living like a CEO now.
Yeah, glad you have a plan, bro.
You have a limited choice in your
Yeah.
many things that you have to choose in the day. Now you won't have to choose. You'll just pick one shirt and one bottom and go, you know, go get going. But it's just, yeah. It's funny, I didn't realize how much we were the odd ones out everywhere until we started talking about it today, because I was like, and still I'm the same way now. Like, sometimes I'll get a glimpse and be like, okay, I'm like 47. Like, should I do this? And I'm like, what do you care? Why are you going to start caring now? I'm going to start caring less. Like,
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, you brought it up, so it was just a natural reaction, and it's the absolute truth. But it's also true that we never thought about it. It's
yeah.
just, it's always been that way our entire lives. There's just, so it's so natural. You know what I mean? It's like a fish swimming with the current, against the current, up. It doesn't matter. It's our environment. It always has been that way. So it's our normal. But there's no denying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's also no denying how comfortable you are with it and how I've always been with it. You know. So even now, surrounded by everything that's not me, in one aspect, but everything that is me in so many other aspects. You know what I mean? I'm surrounded by all these different people from different backgrounds and cultures, and we all get along famously and have a wonderful time together. Great relationship, friendships, everything. You know, and so I just really appreciate that, and I think it's great, and I'm glad we never let any of that kind of stuff bother us, because you know, it's terrible, because you know there are some people that'll do anything to just fit in, anything
Yeah.
to somehow blend in, and you're killing a part of yourself to do that. You know, you really are. You're really losing your shine to somehow dull yourself down enough to fit in with others and their interests or their looks or their way of dressing or whatever it might be. You know, you lose that part of yourself. And how many parts are you willing to sacrifice? And you can truly never be you and blossom into what you have to offer. And
Yeah.
that's truly sad. So thank goodness we never um, took that road. Not once. Not once. We always just kept it moving at our own speed, our own style, and it's been fantastic.
Is there a time or a place, or I guess a situation where you did feel like out of place? Like, is there one that you could think of?
Like honestly, I don't know that I have because again, in some aspects, I am at a place at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, why would that time or that situation
Yeah.
be any different from every other situation? You know what I mean? More than anything, it would be if others made me feel that way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like targeted me in that sense, and I don't feel as though that's ever really happened. Do you know?
Yeah.
Um, and that's probably because I just am me. I'm a fun-loving guy that has a good time, and you've had individuals who try to like hate on you and stuff like that, but you don't know what they're hating on other than the fact that you're cooler than them, and then that's just them problem, not a me problem. And it's
Exactly.
never been like a gang up mentality. So
Mm-hmm.
no, not really. You know what I mean? Other than the little bit of stuff again that happened in Canada, probably growing up and whatnot. Um, some of those guys and stuff like that, where there was probably that feeling. But I mean, they're kids. Everybody's got their own stuff going on, but not since I came into my own. Certainly not since I hit 6'1". I'll tell you that. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean?
Yes.
A wide body boy, you don't have a lot of problems.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think if I ever felt that way, it was definitely an individual based, and like I removed myself from that individual or the group because I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't know what your problem is, but
Yeah.
I'm not here for it. Like, I had enough. Because I remember, like, when we moved to Charlotte and I became friends with, a group of people, basically, and it was like this one chick in that group. I don't know what it was about her, but she just did not like me. Like my aura, whatever it is, like it triggered her for something,
Yeah.
for some reason. And I finally was like, screw this. Like, why am I
Yeah.
even hanging out in this group anymore? Like,
Yeah.
y'all know this person is being like wrong and
Mm.
mean and just for no reason. And I get it. Like, you're all uncomfortable, but like, see, that's the difference. I'm not. I'm just going to remove myself from the group. And so I
Yeah.
just stopped hanging out with them because I'm like, I don't need this shit. Like, this is dumb. And so, like, that's really the only time. And I always like bring that example to the kids because I'm like, listen, if you have a strong spirit, you have a strong aura, like, people are going to be triggered by you. And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, but I didn't even say anything. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
literally don't have to say anything. There are going to be people, and it still happens to me right out the bat. I'm like, damn, that person, like, something about them is getting triggered. And it's not my problem, it's a them problem. But it's just so interesting to see it happen, like, to my kids too. And I'm just like, guys, this is your life. Just get used to it. There are going to be people that are going to be triggered by you because you're amazing. And
Yeah.
that's just how it is. And I think for anyone out there that you have people around you that if you feel like you trigger them and it keeps happening, it's, just change your scenery. Like, you're not the problem. You just need to change the scenery. And I want people to understand that. It's like there's something special about you. It's not a negative, and I think that's what I learned with always being the odd person out is that it's there's no negative thing if you don't blend in. It's actually makes you so much more special. And I wish more people would understand that or have people in their lives to tell them that.
Look, haters are gonna hate.
Hate.
That's not
That's
just a
right.
cliche. That's a fact. And especially when you shine,
Yeah.
it burns, folks. You
Mm-hmm.
know, some people bask in the glow of it. Some, you know, honestly cheer you on and love you for it and praise you and help you. Others, it burns them like a burning sun, and they don't know how to handle that because a lot of times, like I know with even me in my life, I've come through almost like a Johnny come lately, and totally rock a room or a group of people. And but haters are gonna hate. Listen, even
Yeah.
with me, and I mean all through life, especially, I can be rather bombastic and um, quite magnetic, and a lot of people are drawn to that. But then there's also those ones who are really upset by it, really shook by it, and don't like it because it messes up their natural order of things. Especially since you and I have always come and gone through people's lives, through different
Mm-hmm.
cities, states, countries. So we're always Johnny come latelys. We're not the same people these people grew up with and their established order. We disrupt it completely. And so when you're a disruptor like that, there will be friction, no matter what.
Yeah.
Said some will embrace the change and embrace the breath of fresh air that you bring, and others will be so bitter and sour about it because haters gonna hate. Even in my work life here, where I have made great strides. I try to be inclusive of everyone and treat everybody well, but there's still haters.
Mm-hmm.
There's still haters who either don't like the ascension that's transpired or simply, and I don't blame them to some extent because, they probably feel like they may have deserved a shot or something like that and someone else gets it. So I get that, but at the same time, you need to look introspectively and be like, what could
Mm-hmm.
I have done different that would have allowed me to rise to that rather
Mm-hmm.
than hating on the person who actually got it. But that's temporary as well because
Yeah.
inevitability is inevitable. So they
Mm-hmm.
eventually have to swallow and deal and be okay. And that's okay. That's life. Just know that that will always be and always has been. That, when you are like that, when you do have a rise in life, when you do come in and you do, really affect people, it won't always be in a positive. It'll be those in a positive, but there'll also be those who basically take an L because of you. And that's life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
don't
I
stress.
mean,
Just
yeah.
enjoy it. Like the way I look at it, honestly, is that, again, there was always going to be hate and there's always going to be love. As long as those above you and around you, that you're getting love from that, don't worry if the hate's coming from those in the periphery and below. Because, that's that crab mentality where they want to drag people down,
Yeah.
to their level. So you're doing right if you just keep aspiring and keep going towards your goals.
Yeah, I
Just,
agree.
be mindful, be careful, and, caring and whatnot of everyone in to a certain extent, but certainly don't make any apologies for yourself
Yeah, for who you
and,
are. Yeah.
for you being you and
Yep.
living out loud and doing what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, because there's no way I would ever dull my shine to make someone more comfortable. I mean, I would,
Yeah.
if anything, try to shine more light on them to make them, big them up and make them feel good and things like that, but not at the expense of me being me.
Yeah.
Never has
No, I
happened,
agree.
never will happen. I'm not going to kill a part of me for someone else to feel better. Never.
No. And I don't think anyone should ever do that. It's yeah, like I agree. I think that especially as I get older, I just have so much more, like, okay, this is who I am. These are the things that I want to do. These are the things that I don't want to do. And even with like my kids, I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, you're old enough now, just like you don't want to do things. There's things that I don't want to do because this is who I am. And I like who I am. And it's very interesting because I remember I got annoyed with the kids once because, I don't know, they said something. And then, my husband's like, well, he's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, express yourself, but then like, don't. Because I basically pulled like a old school mom and dad thing of like, ugh, know your place. And then I was like, well, actually their place is equal to mine because that's how I've raised them. And I want them to be that way. But I think I was annoyed with something they said once, but I can't
You're allowed to be annoyed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I wasn't trying to dull or sparkle. I was like, you sparkle, man. I like it. Just keep going. I'm glad that you stepped to me. I'm glad that you have the courage to step to me because I definitely didn't always have that when it came to my parents.
I remember Dad said that to me once when we got in this big argument in Tennessee when I was a teenager, and he's like, we got in this, like, what I thought was a nasty fight. He was just like, that's good. I'm glad. You're finally standing up to me. And I'm like, dude, I'm not that guy. Please. This is not how I want to live. Can we have some peace, please? Yeah. Like now, yes, I will handle my business. I've changed a lot. But like I tell him, I'm like, I used to be a really nice guy, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I was very live and let live. But now I know that not everyone will just simply let you live. You have to fight for yours sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. What advice would you give to someone who is really trying to step out and like shine their light, be the odd one out, but it's just so out of nature for them because they've always like felt like they had to blend in?
So I want to start by saying, don't try to stand out. Don't try to be the odd one out. Just follow what's naturally inside of you, and then it won't take such a massive effort. Do you know what I mean? Like, I understand that you being you may have you standing out, but frame it in your mind one way, because then it doesn't seem like such a leap of faith. It doesn't seem like you're taking such a risk. If you're really just true, being true to yourself. I think that's number one, is that mindset is what's going to help you actually own that moment. Is that this is who I am, this is what I have inside, and this is what I bring to the table. And so when you own your identity, you own yourself, I think it gives you that much more confidence to kind of go out there and not feel like a fraud, not feel like you're trying too hard or something like that. You know what I mean? Just follow your heart, just follow what's inside and have that supreme confidence in it. And that's how you can pull that off, in my opinion. But I get what you're saying, right? Someone who's maybe tried to blend in for so long and things like that, their natural order may be a stark change. But I think if you own it inside, in your heart, in your mind, and you know why you're doing that and what backs that up, be it your culture, be it your upbringing, be it your interests or whatever it might be, your personality, right?
Yeah.
It's so much natural to own it that way than it is to kind of think out of it as like, I'm going to go streak out on my own or like, do this wild transformation or something. Just kind of put it in your heart and your head that this is who I am, this is what I am, and step by step bring it out.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I feel like it's also like what I would say is like, if you're feeling these things that you want to bring more to the surface, connect with why. Like, why are you feeling that way? Like, what's behind it? Because I think that gives you more of the authenticity behind it versus like you just being like, oh, I'm forcing this. You're probably not forcing it. There's something inside you that is, like you said, wanting to surface. And if you understand what it is, that's like that, what part of you is wanting to surface, that makes it easier to connect with that. And then you do feel like that's your natural way of being versus like you trying to like push it or force it or whatever. And yeah, to all of you people that are traveling, don't blend in, guys. Like, it's just, every time I see an article with that heading of wanting to blend in, it drives me nuts because I'm like, why? Like, I literally never have thought that way. Like, maybe in India a little bit because of cultural norms, like that, I don't want to stand out and like not.
So you don't want to get ripped off at the store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, more than anything else. Yeah. But like otherwise, no. Like, I'm always like, when I go somewhere, I'm not like, oh, let me see what the locals are gonna be wearing, and I want to dress just like them. It's like, no, show your own light, man. People, you can have style. Like, one place doesn't know the perfect style. Like, that's just not a thing. And so I just feel like we all need more of that, and more people need to just like own who they are, step into that, and like you will really like light up and glow up, and it will be received by the right people, Like,
Yeah,
you
and
should just be you. Who cares who receives it?
it's about damn time. I mean, there's a long stretch here where literally everybody was going for the identical look. You know,
Mm-hmm.
every person on Instagram, male or female, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They all just went for the same
Mm-hmm.
cookie cutter appearance, whatever they thought was
And even their
the
homes,
it.
not just like their
Yeah. Oh yeah.
vision, aesthetic, but like even the homes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, God, what happened to color, man?
Yeah.
Like,
Whatever
let's
color,
celebrate.
culture, uniqueness,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
every space, people owned their own space, and it would be nice to go to one versus the other and kind of get that different vibe, that different feeling. It's the same as a person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When it's all the colors, all the different styles, they make up an amazing, you know, hodgepodge,
Yeah.
you know, band of misfits. It's fantastic. You know, everyone brings their own special flair. Like, why just be boring? And it's like, just like nobody wants a yes man or just
Mm-hmm.
wants some bland whatever. I mean, that's the same. You know, people have different homes, different styles, different cultures, different everything, all blending into that same Americana, that same world that we're all coexisting in and having a good time. But you just add your own flair, your own flavor, and you know, variety is the spice of life. Always has
Yeah.
been, always will be. It
Yeah.
enriches everyone.
I agree.
So find that inner self, find that inner feeling, that motif, and you know, like you said, Rush, like find what connects you to it, what makes it genuine to
Yeah.
you, and that's how you can own it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I
And the whole
agree.
world will be better for it.
Absolutely.